Day, good viewers, and welcome to episode 6 of this manic Minecraft Let's Play with me, Maniclutter, where today our first port of call is to dive on into the nether, something I'm feeling a little bit more confident about this time, because what's this? There's infrastructure. What I've worked on between videos, as well as just a little bit of resource gathering, is this here pathway. And the next portal you'll see is the one that made all the difference. I'll show you what it's like on the other side. It's just on t'other side of the jungle. Ta-da! And I was able to see that in the Basalt Delta. A handy landmark for me to find again, and I put it there in the first instance because of its position at the other side of the jungle, relatively equidistant between the portal in the town over yonder and the outpost that I was trying to reach all along. But also handily, there is a bee nest here, which I'm hoping to make use of if ever I work out quite how to farm honey and honeycomb. Now, there is a reason I'm continuing in the overworld and not the nether for this stretch, because as I was trying to connect the nether portal stepping stones, I happened to be following this line and I came across something in the jungle, which I have yet to explore, because I thought it might be nice to explore together this here jungle temple. I'll keep this well lit. I might even do the puzzle as intended, though I can't remember which point on the wall the pistons actually open. I rather like to avoid that trap. Thank you for the tripwire hooks and string. Ooh, arrows galore. Not that I need them, as the bow I have is enchanted with infinity. A little bit more light shed on the situation is no bad thing. Oh my goodness, it's my first time picking up redstone in this world. Ah, it was a tripwire, not a trap chest. I just had a moment of doubt there. Sealed my fate on the path I took to avoid it. Nice to get more diamonds, and nice to get some armor trims. Now let's have a go at this silly little puzzle, shall we? Okay. Ooh, well, I heard a lot of movement, but I see nothing. Okay, you're doing nothing. I hear all these very promising noises, only for nothing to happen. Aha, so I should have been going in from the top the whole time. Well, I got some reasonable loot from that and took the pistons and stone too, so I did, as a matter of fact. Just mine my way right out. After all of that puzzling, I was about to go the wrong way. Now, continuing down the line further, here we are. We come to the most fantastic geological feature, a dripstone cave open to the sky. Quite something to behold. I'm possibly a bit too close to the village for comfort. I had better sleep the monsters away, and fight the monsters on the way. All that, and help if I could aim. Get back. Yikes. Now if you're wondering about the pies, I've done a bit of trading in the interim with the villagers in the town that I call home. That was narrowly avoided. What are you doing here? Oh, it's a good thing I slept. Having just bought up my pies, I go ahead and fail to eat them at the critical moment. That is embarrassing. I'd even been trading a bit before this to gather levels, which have now all gone down the drain. I could do the next bit in the overworld, but I'm here to showcase the portals, as there is one more new one. Back on the inside, the other pathway leading up to that new portal tracks a bit too close for my liking to some lava, particularly as there are magma cubes about who are always very tempted to knock me in. And there it is. A precarious route at the moment, but one I intend to improve upon. And as of yet, I haven't actually been thrown in. That would have caused no end of dismay. But here it is, the new one. Between the first one that I built that turned out on the inside of this fortress, you can just about make out the obsidian of its side. And the one over there, next to the jungle. This is the other savannah village that I found and started my first cow farm, though I've a rather more substantial, successful one set up in my postal outpost. My primary reason for coming back here was for this chappie and his rotten flesh trade. And the gold trade's proven very lucrative too. Lots of emeralds from that indeed. Though now I am rather low on gold, funnily enough. It would be good if I was actually heading back toward the portal, wouldn't it? Blimey, it's twice I've gone in the wrong direction now. Third time will be the charm, or maybe I've already got it all out of my system. There is, in fact, a third new portal too. The one that takes you back to spawn, but because of where it's generated here in the Nether, I think it might be quicker to take the overworld route, seeing as one has to dive deep into the fortress, making sure to follow the right path, where one is liable to get assailed by wither skeletons, which is never a good time. And here we go, just down the way from that little bit of fortress that sticks out into the Crimson Forest, I can follow a path I dug all the way back to spawn. Here we go, familiar territory. Familiar though it may be, I don't think I have a single thing of value here anymore, as I've done some ferrying of bits and bobs around and about the place. A pair of leather boots, can't go amiss with that. Maybe I will take the saddles with me. Oh, maybe I'll take it all with me. I am going back to my outpost. If I am to perish now, that will be enormously embarrassing. It is my intention to continue a covered path through the Nether, be it dug into the ground or some sort of cover built around those walkways. Something a little bit safer for me to traverse than an open tightrope that I've practically got on the last leg to my outpost. Threatened by magma cubes, as always. Oh, here we are on the tightrope. Ah, and there's a skeleton here to greet me too. That's nice. I realise, looking back at the footage of me in the cave, if I just held back and used my bow for a bit longer, I could have done all right. But no, I just had to dive on in. Well, one good night's sleep and one rejigging of my inventory later, we're going to go mining again, because although I went for a hearty little trip off camera, it is the case that I was exploring entirely new wings of the cave in that, specifically so that I could return with my audience in tow, and we can properly explore the area in and around my death. And I realise now that I've become distracted and overshot the mark. That is funny, I thought it was closer. First things first, be nice if I can re-find those diamonds, and the right-hand wing is that new one. It's this narrow passage here that I've been down before. Whether you believe it or not, this and those that are narrow in the other plane are my favourite kind of caves. Those little ones that you've got to worm your way through. When they open out like this and become a bit rounder, I lose interest. I thought I heard a skeleton up this way. Hello, bud. Oh, thank you for missing one of those. I think if I'd eaten both, that would have been the end of me. Just lighting this up so nothing will sneak up upon me. There we go. Coming to that critical place, I believe. Here we are. Yes. I haven't yet dug a proper staircase down. That's not the most fun I've ever had. Ooh, and that would be even less the fun I've ever had. Oh, it's bizarre. Ah! I knew I saw a creeper. Oh, goodness me. I can be a bit balmy at times, but that really takes the cake, that does. Now, I did loot this. I did come back and take the goodies herein. I believe I needed the 1 ingot of iron. I might keep the spawner intact and turn that into a proper mob grinder in the future when I've got the energy for that kind of thing. Truth told, I am also in need of more resources somehow. I got through all the iron on my off-camera mining trip, making a couple of anvils, one for this outpost here, as the old one had been used to death. Oh, an invisible spider. How charming, and how very killable. Ah, right, it would appear that I've got 2 spawners in close proximity to one another. That's interesting. Spiders just here. Zombies just there, not quite in sight. Ah, 'twas above me. Well, this is interesting. Let's see what they've got by way of loot. Well, rotten flesh. Again, I can trade that in now. I only need one music disc like that, but buckets, and the water that one can pick up with them actually far more useful than some people give credit, and certainly more useful than I've given credit to, given that I haven't actually kept one in my possession up until now. As a chap I follow, Pixel Riffs, points out, if Minecraft has anything like a grappling hook, the water bucket is it. This is the kind of cave I love. You're not sure if it's going to carry on or just peter out. Though I will say I like it a bit more and it's actually yielding some resources. Now gold. I haven't been picking it up, but maybe I should, given that, once again, I can trade it in for emeralds. And smelting it up gives me plenty of experience, which I need if I want to continue this trend of frequent enchanting, not least a diamond pickaxe to give it mending. Looks like this one in particular, I was about to say that it does come to an end, but perhaps it just keeps on going. Ooh, hang on a minute. I recognise that kind of stone. Now, it may be one that I noticed earlier, because before I died, something I wanted to point out with the diamonds was that I saw one of these geodes from above. My death quickly scuppered that plan, but ooh, look at that. This is very nice. What I'm particularly keen on making is a spyglass, because there's a feature that when the spyglass first came out, not many people talked about when they were concerned with, ah, bother. I did not want to break that block. Folk weren't entirely happy with how the spyglass worked, and I think there is one suggestion I saw, which I think was a fair one, but maybe it increased the render distance in whichever direction you zoomed in on. But in terms of the Optifine zoom being just better, because it gave you a wider field of view, while the spyglass narrows it due to the overlay it puts on your screen, that is relatively easily solved by simply tapping F1, but I really didn't want to break one of those blocks earlier because you can't replace them or move them, those out of which these amethyst clusters grow. I've been in this area for long enough for all of these to actually grow. Oh blimey, I've got plenty. I've got plenty to work with. Don't need any more of that. Now, of course, I've got to make it all the way out of this narrow corridor. Another long, thin passage awaits us. With some glow squid at the bottom. Oh, and some diamond. Speaking of which, I went right next to the spot where I saw some that tempted me into the area by that dungeon earlier on, but I don't believe I did pick up the diamonds there. Down to my final 8 torches, but there's more diamonds to be grabbed. And, no creepers about to immediately assail me. Oh, here, let me help you. Oh, didn't get there in time. How tragic! I mean, by help him, I did mean just put an end to him sooner. Oh no, I just accidentally mined the 2 whole diamonds that initially tempted me. Ooh, no, there's more. The 3 whole diamonds that initially tempted me into this pit where I was slain by zombies at the spawner. Ow. It would help if I was any good at traversing this sort of place. Now, I didn't recognise this spot at first, and then I saw this place above and realised that I'd picked these up off camera, but at least we saw the last one. Lots of interesting places I could go, though I am fast running out of torches, indeed. Just picking up the last dregs of iron while my pickaxe holds out. And while I hold out for that matter, I can hear nasties approaching. Quite from where, I don't know. Hello? Are you above me? Maybe it's night time up there. It could well be by now. Ah, no, I see where they'll be. Oh my goodness, still completely unexplored in there. I thought I would have wrapped around into that section at some point in my subterranean traversal, but apparently not. Well, I know where I'll be heading next time. No, now we're going down again. So the way up must be just here. There we are. Hey, and it is night time above. Of course it is. Get my bow at the ready. And I am glad that I had it at the ready. Okay, I better sleep soon. Or I could spend a night guarding the town. That'd bump up my experience level. Help me do a bit more enchanting. I hear another skeleton, though I don't see it just yet. Oh, come on, where are you hiding? Whoa, you were behind me all along. Ow. There goes another bit of leather armor. I'm glad they peaked, otherwise I wouldn't have hit them. Power 1. Nothing to write home about. Oh, neither is my parkour skill. The lack thereof. Oh, 'tis dawn anyway. Well, there are a few nasties around the periphery of town. I'll just deal with them. I think I might be about to... Yes, I'm about to be assailed from multiple angles by ranged opponents. Oh dear. Ah, yikes. The number of arrows I'm peppering the place with, I'm worse than the skeletons. They are pretty crack shots most of the time, at least compared to me. In some ways that proved quite fruitful. It bumped me back up to 10 levels, which those of you who are keen-eyed will have seen that I was at one point in the caves, and then promptly dropped down to 7 or less. I did die to a skeleton in there, but gratefully it was just in sight of that dungeon and patch of diamonds, so it was very easy for me to find again. I feared I was deeper in and that I'd really lost my stuff again, that it would despawn before I possibly found the spot I'd perished at. But gratefully, that was not the case. Wipe the sweat off my brow. Phew! Now that I'm in a position to do so, I will demonstrate just what I meant about the spyglass. Narrow field of view right until one hits F1, and it's not amazing when I don't choose a sensible thing to look at with it. Ah, perhaps out over the ocean now, there's a romantic idea. Looking out over the 7 seas through your spyglass. Remove the heads-up display and admire the forests of kelp and the myriad fish and the silly squid spinning around. Well, I'm looking to get enough experience to start enchanting some iron armor up for emergency use. My best source for experience at the moment is trading with villagers, and so perhaps it's high time I show you the usual trading cycle that I go through. Oh, what wonderful weather we're having. I don't think it's a full-on storm, so I can't even sleep through it. Maybe I'll pause recording until this deluge is over. Well, the rain simply isn't abating, so I'll just have to work through it. Now, I expanded my sugarcane farm for the purposes of making more paper. As a librarian will kindly trade me paper for emeralds, so just quickly turn all this into paper and make the most ridiculous quantity of sticks, which is why I was going hell for leather on the bamboo. And start with the librarian this time, as is in my sight. Yes. Now it's getting dark. I want to get rid of the rain. I was hoping I'd stay up again and do a little bit of combat, but that's not to be the case tonight. I'll have to showcase my most superior enchanted bow another time. Now where is that Fletcher? They're hiding from me. Often they get stuck up here. Oh, there we go. It's exactly where you are. Plenty of emeralds now, which is good. I was just starting to get a little bit low on my pies. Somewhere there's the farmer who'll trade more of those to me. Somewhere. I do believe the last villager with a hat on I saw was a fisherman. Not the farmer. Huh! Out of thin air they appear. Right then. More pies, please. I'm nicely stocked up now, that feels better. What it might be worth my doing is smelting some gold up. Then I can take that to the cleric in the further off village and get even more emeralds under my belt. Well now you have Future Clutter dropping in to give you some Minecraft news before we wrap things up. I discovered that my recording added up to really quite a lot, so I'm splitting this video into two. This really is the calm before the storm. I'm sure we'll find the next one interesting. That's one word for it. But we're now doing things on pre-release 7. 2 pre-releases have come out in the interim, and we have a release date for this update. Now, Mojang went ahead and gave a little clue in one of their videos, only to reveal the actual date at the end. They're cowards, rather than leaving it hanging for a bit. So I'm going to leave it hanging. Get it? Because it's on hanging signs. And for those of you who aren't going to watch Mojang's official video, it'll have to be in the next video that I tell you for certain when the release date is. Until then, or until the next video, which is rather less chilled than this one, I bid you a fond farewell.